I am here on Grandfather Mountain. Today we're going to be doing the Profile Trail. It's a beautiful morning. It's about 48 degrees outside. And I'm just giving some local trailers the discretion of how to use their trekking poles. We're in the parking lot, as you see. And you want to always make sure you move your hand like this. You want to have the pole go forward and your feet. Your pole go forward and your feet. We're about a quarter mile from the parking lot here. And you can just see that there's some snowfall. This is just the first part of the ascending part of the trail where we're going up. Like I said, this is just the start of the trail. This is the creek that the trail goes into. One beautiful thing about the trail, if you're not in a creek crossing, there's very minimal areas where you have to cross creeks. There's one a little bit back that we did that was just a few puddles, and it doesn't get too wild here with creek crossing, but you can admire the beauty of the creeks. And you can go up and down, and it's a great water source. I bring my filter here. To the stream spot now of the valley, and now we're starting to ascend up the mountain. Here we go. There it is. There's the top of where we're going to. That's the top of the peak, and as you see, we're getting there. I always bring a Camelback with me whenever I hike, and this is a typical Camelback I use. I fill about 2 liters of water up, and I have the Sawyer filtration system to filter the water through, but it works really well for hydration to have a Camelback to suck on when you're hiking. We talked to a few locals, and they told us that there's a nice overlook, which we're heading to next. And then from there, you veer off to the right, and about 1.9 miles, it takes you to the Grandfather Mountain Extension Bridge. Now it's $20 to get to Grandfather Mountain. We took this route because we didn't want to pay $20 each just to go over a bridge. We figured we'd hike to it ourselves. So here we are. It's very snowy up here. Hiking up, trying up. It's pretty snowy up here. They must have had a big ice storm. They have a food storage cable here for bears, so you don't have to even bring your own bear bag. You just add a regular bag and put your food in it and just hang it up on a convenient pulley system. That's one advantage of being out here. You don't have to stress about the things like that. They got everything you need here. This is the campsite. It's a great site to make a fire, and this is a nice neutral flat area to put your tent down. I recommend definitely getting a good footprint. As you can see, it's wet during this time of year, but at the visitor center by the parking lot, you just sign a waiver that you're going to camp here to let the rangers know. But it's a beautiful place to camp, and you could go hike to Grandfather Mountain after this in the morning if you stay over 2 nights. So it's a fun little getaway. As you can see, these are the rhododendrons. They're not in bloom right now because of the cold weather. But as we know, whenever there's water, there's always a rhododendron, and here's your evidence of that. Here's the famous profile view. hikes, icicles, I mean, hanging from there. Lots of moss and some ferns. And as you hike up the mountain, the higher you get, the more beautiful rocks you see, just kind of hanging off the mountain. It makes you feel like you're Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit. It's getting a little cold outside and there's a lot of ice everywhere. So we had a great time and we'll be back on another adventure. This is my stove that I made out of the kitty litter can. It keeps the food warm and it heats up. I had some, I'll show you what I made. It's basmati rice with some beef, and it's all dehydrated, and I used a food saver to put it in there. And I just put some fuel in a kitty litter can, heated it up, and we're gonna finish eating and head back to the parking lot. We're about 2.5 hours into the hike. It's just getting pretty cold, and it's a safety thing. We just talked to a ranger. He suggested if we wanted to keep going, we could, but he said it gets pretty patchy and icy. And if you look just ahead of us, it does look pretty patchy and icy. I mean, this is some ice here. So we're gonna head back down, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Thanks for watching. We made it back at dark. 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 Back at dark.